Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Timmy Treacle, also known as Horror Fan for Life, and today I'm going to be talking about a special trio of vaudeville comedians who are my personal favorites. I started watching these guys when I was just a young kid, and even though when I started watching them, they had all since passed away, with the exception of a couple of them. But this trio I am talking about is the Three Stooges. The Three Stooges have been a staple in the United States and the world since they started making their shorts in 1934. But what you may not know, if you are just a casual fan or not even a fan, before they started off as the Three Stooges, they had many different jobs. A lot of them had different, I would say, skills. But along the way, they eventually all got into the acting bug, starting with Moses Harry Horowitz. Later, he changed his name to Mo Howard, and he has two brothers who are also part of this act. Later on down the road, you had Samuel Horowitz, who changed his name to Shemp Howard. You have Jerome Lester Horowitz, who changed his name to Curly Howard. And then you have Louis Feinberg, who changed his name to Larry Fine. But before all that, they started off as Ted Healy and his Stooges. Ted Healy was a comedian in the vaudeville act himself, and he was kind of a hard ass when it come to who he worked with. And it started off with just Mo and Shemp Howard, and along the way, they decided to add a third Stooge to the act, and this is when they found Louis Feinberg, who later became Larry Fine. He had the curly hair, and this is what they were looking for. Eventually, though, Healy's act wore a little thin with the fellas, and they decided to branch out on their own and have their own act, because Ted Healy later on in their act, he would get drunk, abusive, and just only really cared about himself. They started with Ted in 1922, and they ended the relationship with him in 1934. And also before they ended their relationship with that, Shemp had quit and took a solo career in 1932. Mo's younger brother, Jerome, was brought in to be the third Stooge. And how he got his name Curly is funny, because they were having a conversation, and Ted Healy had said that you look girly, and they thought that he had said curly. And ever since then, that name stuck. And he also shaved his head to fit the part, and Curly wasn't really happy with that. He didn't like the fact, he didn't think it made him look masculine or manly. But the ladies took to him like bees to honey. And he was a real ladies' man, Curly was. But when they did separate with Ted Healy, he tried taking in the court to stop them from using the Stooges' name, because he believed he owned that. And he even tried or threatened to bomb places where the Stooges were sent to perform. And yeah, that's how bad he was. And eventually he tried getting three new guys for his act, but it just didn't work. And ever since then, since 1934 till present, we're constantly being shown these Three Stooges short films, and they're still great today. And even a lot of them have been done in color, which is nice, but I still prefer the black and white to the color, even though it looks nice and you always like to see what they are actually wearing. But overall, from 1922 to 1970, uh, they were a vaudeville act and comedy team. They did 190 short films for Columbia Pictures, and they've been on TV since 1958, and they're known for their physical and slapstick comedy. There were six total Stooges in all, but only three appeared at the same time uh, during any run that they had. If one would quit or become ill, then they would replace that one. Um, and there was supposed to be a seventh Stooge, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. Uh, Moe and Larry were the only ones to ever been in every short film and any project they ever did, of course, until they stopped making movies. Uh, let's see. From 1934 to 1946, Moe, Larry, and Curly, they made 100 short films for Columbia Pictures. But there's a dirty secret that Columbia Pictures never told the boys. For the first short film they did, which was Woman Haters, which is freaking excellent, they were given $1,000 to split between the three guys. And then after that, they signed a contract where for each short film, they were given $7,500 to split between the three, which was huge money back during this time. But what they didn't know is they were so popular that they could have done a lot of other things as far as merchandising and more appearances and all that. But because Columbia was so mean and nasty to these boys, they basically told the boys that, well, your shorts are not doing really good, so we're just going to have to renew your contract 1 year at a time. And they did that throughout their run so they could basically rein them in and not let them know that, hey, they're actually really popular, and they could have gone somewhere else to make these short films and probably got paid a lot more money. But because of what Columbia did, they stayed there throughout their entire run when it comes to the short films. But during this era, with Moe, Larry, and Curly, this is considered to be the best era of the trio, especially from 1934 to 1941. They were at the highlight of their career. But Curly, he loved to drink and eat and smoke, and eventually his health caught up with him, or lack thereof. And you could tell in the movie shorts later on that he wasn't as sharp as he was, and he actually did have a stroke while filming a short, which forced him into retirement after 14 years. He, like I said, his best years were phenomenal. They did a lot of great shorts. Woman Haters, some more Samoa. You have A Plumbing Will Go, Men in Black. Just a lot of great short films featuring Curly. Cash and Carry. What else do we have here? Violent is the word for Curly. Just a lot of great shorts that I really enjoy, and a lot of people consider Curly to be the favorite Stooge among fans. Now, me personally, my favorite Stooge is Larry Fine, but I would agree Curly is the most popular. But Larry is my personal favorite. I actually have in my wallet a license with Larry Fine's picture on it and everything, which I thought was pretty cool. I actually have their bobbleheads on top of my refrigerator. You see there in the background, that's my refrigerator. I also have Jason and Michael up there, but in the middle you have Curly on the left, Larry in the middle, and Moe on the right. I got those dolls from the mall many, many years ago. And yeah, it's just Curly was awesome. He was the best improviser of all time. Most of the time, what he is saying in these movie shorts is made up. It's made up right on the spot, and that's what they loved about Curly during his best years. Is he could just go with it, and the other two boys fed off what Curly would do, and it was just amazing. His genius at work, and Curly had never had any formal training when it comes to acting, and he was fantastic. And if you ever notice that he is limping in the movies when he's running, well, that's because when he was younger, had shot himself and was afraid to have surgery. So basically, he just lived with it and lived with the limp. And then, of course, Larry, he played the violin professionally as well. Main reason behind that was because when he was younger, he had spilled some acid on himself, and as part of his therapy, he played the violin and became excellent at playing that. And yeah, they had a lot more talents besides what they did for Columbia Pictures. They had to do at least 8 shorts a year in a 40-week time period, and then the last 12 weeks of the year, they could do whatever they wanted as far as making money. They could go and get another job, or they could just go out on the road and perform their act, which is what they did. But Larry was really bad with money, and so a lot of the times Mo would try and help control the finances, because he always said that Larry's always broke before they would be even close to getting their next payday, and he lived out of hotel rooms and from place to place, and never had a steady home. Curly always had a steady home. He was married multiple times, but he was a really family man. He was a sweet man. They showed some old video of his with his kids, his dogs. He was just a lovable man. They were all great, and unfortunately, like I had said, Curly suffered a stroke while filming a short, and during Halfwood's holiday in 1947, they ended up finishing the episode or the short film without him, and you could tell because there was 3 to 4 minutes where you don't see Curly at all, and that's why, because he had a stroke. He was forced to retire, although he did make made one appearance with the three boys in Hold That Lion. He was a passenger on a train with a clothespin on his nose, and had a paper over his face. And he also did make another appearance in a short with the three guys. And I say three guys. His older brother Shemp ended up taking his place. And it was he was supposed to be a chef in the short, and they ended up cutting it and not using it. Ultimately, the plan is when Curly got better, that Shemp would step away after he got better, but it never happened. And Shemp was reluctant to join the trio, but knew that if he didn't, then it would be the end of Larry Moe's career. And although he had a great solo career, he just couldn't do that. And he ended up doing 76 short films with the boys before he succumbed to a heart attack in 1955 and passed away. Curly passed away 3 years prior. 4 of those Shemp short films you may have noticed, or maybe you didn't, but the last 4 shorts they released, it wasn't Shemp that was doing the shorts. It was his stunt double, or as they called him, a fake shimp. And they only filmed them from the back. And that's how they were able to finish those four short movies with Shemp. And, instead of Columbia Pictures just not doing them or just wait until they found someone else, they took the cheap way and did it that way. And I think that, I don't think that should have happened either. I think they should have just finished it with another actor, which they did bring another actor in to replace Shemp, which I'll talk about. But yeah, Shemp was with the boys from 1947 up till his passing. And then after that, they brought in Joe Besser to finish the 16 Stooge shorts. Besser was there from 1956 to 1958. He is considered to be the weakest of the Stooges. And in fact, even though he had a great career outside the Stooges, when he was with the Stooges, he just wasn't good at all. He didn't fit what they were trying to do. And in fact, he had a clause in his contract that he couldn't be hit because he had seen what happened to Larry over the years, and that he had a callous face, and so he put that in his contract, and pretty much that ruined the Stooges because that's part of their act. So Larry ended up taking the grunt of all the slaps, and I'm sure Joe Besser was a nice guy and great family man, but he really stunk when it comes to the Stooges. And I really wish they had gone with another Stooge, which they ended up doing to replace Joe Besser. And like I said, I'm not on here to trash him because I don't want to do that. But I did not like Joe Besser at all. He just didn't fit the trio. So after Besser left the group, Joe Jarita came on in 1958 and stayed with the boys through 1970 when basically the act was done. And this was called the comeback of the Stooges. They ended up doing 6 feature films with Curly Joe. They ended up having him shave his head too, and they called him Curly Joe, which was great. Joe Jarita, I really enjoyed. I thought he was really good. And they also did a lot more things as well. They did 156 animated cartoon shorts, which are really cool. And they were in color as well. They were also set to do a half-hour TV show until Larry had suffered a stroke and was forced to retire. Larry ended up becoming wheelchair bound, not only from all the slapping over the years, but just not good health. I've seen some interviews with Larry, and he would talk about a lot of the things that he was so happy about, and he said he'd do it again in a heartbeat. That he loved what he did, and he said that Curly was the best thing that happened to the Stooges. That Curly was the main draw, and that they had a lot to be thankful for. They just loved working together. They had a great relationship, and but yeah, Curly Joe Jarita. I've seen all 6 of the feature movies. I've seen the animated short cartoons. They made several appearances. Mo did on talk shows after 1970. But getting back to the 7th Stooge, when Larry was forced to retire in 1970, they had planned on using Emil Sitka, who was in a lot of the Stooges shorts throughout the years, and he had curly hair like Larry, and in all honesty, he would have been a perfect fit to replace Larry, although he wouldn't, to me, be as as good, but I think he would have been a fine replacement. But because of Mo's deteriorating health, it never deteriorated, and he never was actually labeled a stooge because nothing ever happened. But had Mo been able to stay healthy, I think they really would have done some nice things. But even at that time, Mo's almost 72 years old, and they just couldn't do the things that they used to do. And they had a great career. But the one thing I didn't like is the way that Columbia Pictures treated those boys. And I really wish I could go back in time and let Mo know that, hey, they're really holding out on you guys. You're really popular, and instead of re-signing with them, threatened to go somewhere else, and that way you had the higher ground on them. But overall, though, I love the Three Stooges, and I still watch them to this day. They are I won't say pinnacle, but they are the best thing that ever came out of vaudeville. And they are the best trio of comedics ever, in my opinion. During the, like I said, final years from 1970 to 1975, they didn't do anything. They had a lot of things planned, but Mo just ended up doing TV show appearances. I believe I watched one with him on Johnny Carson. He had his wife on there at the time, and those were fun to watch. I've seen some videos with Larry too, after 1970, after he retired. But yeah, then they're all buried or entombed in different places. I really wish I got a chance to go see their grave sites, but unfortunately I've never been. I have seen on YouTube, though, where they are buried. But all the fellas eventually passed away. Emil Zipka, who was supposed to be the seventh stooge, he was the one that passed away the latest, which was January 16th, 1998. But before that, Mo passed away on May 4th, 1975. Not but 4 or 5 months after Larry did, which was January 24th, 1975. And as I said, Shemp Howard passed away on November 22nd, 1955. Curly passed away on January 18th, 1952. Joe Besser passed away on March 1st, 1988. And Joe Jarita passed away on July 3rd, 1993. But with both Joes, they were there when the Three Stooges got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And it was an amazing time. But they should have gotten a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame long before that, even long before Mo and Larry passed away. As a matter of fact, I think after Curly passed away, they should have gotten a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. They were so popular by then. But regardless, they did get their star, and they are well known today, just as much as they were back then. And if you've never seen the Three Stooges, you are definitely missing out. This is fun for the whole family. I introduced my little brother, Keith Stegeman, to the Three Stooges. He used to spend time with me at my home, and I would show him old videotapes and tapes that I had of the Stooges, and he just fell in love. And he still watches them today when he comes to spend time with me as well. He watches them on YouTube, and that's a good thing. If you guys got YouTube, you can check them out. They have full episodes on there, so definitely give them a look-see, or go and buy their DVDs and collections and things. They are amazing. You'll have a lot of laughs. And yeah, that's all I really have to say. The Three Stooges, besides their genius work, and I also did a top 10 list, I believe, of some of my favorite episodes with Curly and then with Shemp. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of Joe Besser's, mainly because the shorts they did were rehashes of old episodes, and I didn't like that, and Joe Besser just wasn't good at all. But had it been Joe Dorita, I think it would have been just fine. He was great in the movies. You can find those movies that they did online as well. They did Have Rockable Travel, The Three Stooges Meet Hercules, Snow White and the Three Stooges. There's some good ones, so definitely check them out. But other than that, that's all I have to say about the Three Stooges. So in the comment section below, if you've seen the Three Stooges, let me know what some of your favorite short films of theirs are, or some of your favorite short films of them. For me, like I said, with Curly, Woman Haters is excellent. Cash and Carry, Men in Black, Plumbing We Will Go, Violent is the Word for Curly. There's just so many. With Shemp, my favorite personal short film of his is Brideless Groom, but there's a whole bunch there too. Other than that, besides give me some of your favorite short films, let me know who your favorite Stooge is as well. And as I said, mine is Larry. So, but other than that, I thank you guys for watching this basically review of the Three Stooges and why I love them so much and why they are so loved today. It's because of their slapstick humor, their on-timing jokes, and Curly's just wit and stage presence was phenomenal. But other than that, I thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and check you later.